Take it away.
So welcome everybody in person and online. Today is A is for apples, but I have to say L is also for leaves because the leaves in Western Pennsylvania have been spectacular this year. I think better than the last few years, especially coming, I live in Monroeville, this is in Murraysville. It's like 10 minutes away. It was like, oh my goodness, they're just wonderful. I think we're almost at our peak, but Western Pennsylvania is very pretty this time of the year. Also, I have to shout out to Pennsylvania because all 67 of our counties produce apples. And in the whole country, we are the fourth largest producer of apples. So that's pretty nice. In the country, we have 2,500 different varieties. And in the world, there are 7,500 different varieties of apples. Isn't that amazing? So apples are pretty special. So I wondered, we have different sayings like apple of my eye. I never knew where that came from. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. We know that because apples are powerhouses of antioxidants and vitamin C and also fiber. But the apple of my eye, so I checked that out. I'm interested in food, but I'm also interested in the history and you know, how we get things that we do in dishes. So in ancient times, they thought the pupil of the eye, we know was round, or they know was round, and it was a solid object. The eyes were very precious, but they compared that part of the eye, the pupil, to an apple. So when they said you're the apple of my eye, that's something very precious and very important. And we all know vision is so important for us. So that's where that came from. Of course, we also have sayings like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and those which are fun. So unfortunately, in our country, the only indigenous apple is the crab apple. All the other varieties have been brought in. So we're going to get started today with applesauce. I discovered Vitamix applesauce like about 2 months ago. My husband eats an apple every day, and some of the apples were getting a little soft and mushy, so we didn't know what to do with them. We threw them in the Vitamix, and I'm amazed because I'm used to the little Musselman cups or Mott's cups, unsweetened, that I use in baking. It's a good egg replacer. So I'm used to that. If I need half of it, I'll just munch on the rest. And it's good. It's not overly sweet, but it's a good applesauce. But when I made the Vitamix applesauce, I was shocked. I need some for the next recipe, so I have to anyway. Do you want me to cook for you today? Okay, we're ready to go. So now, in talking to Sally earlier, by the way, Sally can't be with us today. She's like a little bit under the weather, but in talking to her and about this, she throws the whole apple in, seeds and stem. I'm not quite there yet. I'm like, I'll work my way toward it, but not quite. So, I have my apple core. Supposedly, one apple will make a half a cup of applesauce. So if you have to gauge that for your baking or cooking. So we're going to throw these in. You have to make sure, remind me, I need a half a cup applesauce for the next recipe. So, but you'll be amazed how sweet it is. And you can use any variety. I always go with Gala. I seem to like Gala apples. Some people like crunchier ones or like tart ones. Now the applesauce will turn, and it doesn't affect the taste and doesn't affect the safety. It's just the oxidation. And if you want to avoid that, you can add a couple drops of lemon juice, and that'll help. But I think if you're gonna consume the applesauce, it should be consumed within 3-4 days. I think there's no preservatives. So we'll get those in the Vitamix. And bingo, you're done. Now, I haven't had to use any water, any liquid. We'll see how this goes. Apples are pretty juicy. Might be a little bit noisy. And by the way, you can make it as chunky as you want or as smooth as you want. You can add cinnamon if you want. That looks pretty good to me. Oopsie.
What setting did you put that on?
I started out low and then I went to 10.
Oh, okay.
You know, I could use a, oh, never mind, I'll use a napkin. So we're gonna taste now. You know, you could do this with pears. Or you could do apple pear. Okay, we need servers. Susan, do you want to help serve or I can? Yeah, I'll leave the half cup in the bottom, right?
It's a beautiful color.
Yeah, wait till you taste this. I mean,
Very
I'm
like
shocked.
pinkish.
I'm hoping that's a half cup.
Did you have half a measure?
I do, but you know what? I like to wing it. I'm a good, okay, here we go, Susan. Here's your cups. Here's your spoons. Okay. All
It
right.
couldn't be easier.
But
Couldn't be
no,
easier.
it couldn't be easier, and it's so good. She's thinking that's a half cup will make it.
It looks like a half cup.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda. Oh, I forgot to tell you one thing, since this is close to Halloween and people are thinking about Halloween parties, decorations. Do you know the reason why you bob for apples? The reason you bob for apples is because they are less dense than water and they are 25% air. That's why they float and you can bob for apples. So
Very cool.
interesting. Okay, so our next,
Does anyone have any questions online about the applesauce?
we're good?
I haven't
Okay,
seen.
so. Isn't it good?
And I cooked my apples for an hour once, so. I don't have a vitamin, so that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you could try a strong blender. Boom, it's done.
I bet if you chop it up smaller,
Yeah,
or
maybe
another
maybe
blender.
Chop it up smaller. Isn't it good?
there was no added water. She just put in the slices of
Just
apple.
apples.
And everyone's raving about it. So
Yeah, it really is. All right, well, I wish all of you were here. Okay, we're gonna transition to apple vinaigrette. Okay, so I have the amounts that I'll use here are twice as much as the recipe that you'll get from Sally tomorrow. So a double recipe makes a half cup. Now I'm sorry, the single recipe of Sally's makes a half cup. I wanted to double it, make a cup today for the masses. Okay, we have our unsweetened applesauce. We have miso, provides a little bit of salt, a salty taste without the effects of salt. We have 2 spices, cumin and cinnamon. We have apple cider vinegar. We can adjust this, you know, I taste as I go because we all have different taste buds, different palates. Balsamic vinegar. Dijon mustard. We always get, Westbury makes a good unsalted, no added salt mustard that we order online on Amazon because my husband watches his salt intake. But I think this is Annie's Dijon, organic Dijon mustard, and any mustard could do.
Yeah, they have to come out with a Dijon salt-free one.
Yeah, right.
Someone needs to get on that.
And then this is a little bit, the sweetness, you can do, this is date syrup. You can use maple syrup if you want. And you can make it as sweet or savory as you want. I mean, most salad dressings are like that. You tweak it a little bit to your taste. If it's a little bit too thick for your liking, just add a little bit more liquid, a little water. And if it tastes primarily today like applesauce, it's because I didn't measure.
It's supposed to taste like that.
We'll be
Right?
Yeah, we'll be good. We'll be fine. Okay, ready? Another reason I don't know is because a single recipe would not have. I always use. These are wonderful. Brittany's the one that told me about these scrapers. One side is very solid, firm, and the other side's a scraper, like a spatula scraper. They are so handy. I use them all the time. I don't know who makes them.
Tovolo?
Yes, I do. Tevolo.
Mhm.
Is it T-E-V? T-E-V-O-L-O?
And they were out of the minis for like ever on Amazon, but if you go and just look at the big one, those were in stock and were like
Right.
super available.
I think a few months ago when I went to order, they were out, but they had a two set, a twofer.
Yeah,
I went and got the twofer and I'm not.
I use them all the time too.
Okay, so to try this today. Certainly don't want to follow that for it. To try this today, the vinaigrette. We have little vegetable cups. That I think Susan or somebody can.
Oh, thank
Do
you.
we want to show this? We can drizzle.
Very cool.
We can
Cute.
drizzle.
I bet that would be great on like a coleslaw as well.
Yeah, that sounds worse. So let's.
I'm been really into the shredded cabbage lately.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's a good time of year.
Maybe I'll just, I will drizzle.
Yeah, I might make that tonight. Does anyone have any questions on the vinaigrette she just showed? And all of the recipes you guys will get in your email tomorrow, probably tomorrow. With the recording.
Okay, so, oh, we have napkins up here also. This is like a finger salad. Do you want to, we'll do napkins? That's really good. Yeah, because we're gonna have soup too. Okay, it's good, it's tasty. I would use this. I think maybe 5, 6, I would use it within 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, like any other homemade salad dressing.
Right,
Can remix it probably if it separates.
so that's good. I haven't tried it on anything else yet, but. Could try it on, I don't know.
Yeah, I think like coleslaw would be good besides salad dressing.
Coleslaw.
Mhm.
That's a really good idea. Okay, we're going to move on to our next apple adventure. And our next apple adventure is an apple carrot soup. Let me clean up a little bit. Can you, if you could see this online, I'm embarrassed, but this is how my kitchen looks like. My kitchen's, there's stuff here, there's stuff here. Sometimes I have to pull out the chairs from the table and put stuff on the seats. It's just like, it's a little messy, but it works. Okay. Now the carrot apple soup. Recipe, good for this time of the year for sure. Can be made 2 ways and you'll get both directions. When I've made this before, I steam the apples, the carrots, and the onion for 10 or 15 minutes, just till the carrots are soft. But it dawned on me this morning when I did it, you could easily just make this a raw soup, I guess, and then heat it up. Vitamix says you can heat soups to boiling in 6 minutes with their Vitamix on high. I'm a little leery of doing that. I don't know if I would try that, but anyway. And the other way is just to put everything into a Dutch oven on top of your stove and put all the ingredients. You'll see what I put in. So it can be done that way, or, and then use your motor stick blender to smooth it out. So. We have a question?
No, I was just expressing the thought.
Oh, okay. So this is the recipe. There's 1.5 pounds carrots. This supposedly the soup. I'm hoping this is going to come out. 1.5 pounds carrots, 3 tart apples. It says tart, but I use Gala. You can use any apple you want. And 1 large yellow onion chopped. So I did this before, like 2 hours ago. I'm gonna hope it comes out. If not, I have to use mine. So these were just steamed on top of the stove. And Vitamix generally says their recipes work better and the machine works better when you start out with liquid, but there's enough liquid in here. I think you will be all right. And then I'm going to add some more liquid too. So these are the 2 vegetables and the 1 fruit. But you won't have this problem at home.
How'd you get in there so hot? Were you very careful when you were adding it?
Yeah,
Still, because I can still see some steam.
yeah, there's some steam, which is good. So we'll be able to, we won't have to run the Vitamix for 6 minutes. Okay, so we have that. We need a cup of plant milk, unsweetened plant milk. So the liquids are plant milk and apple cider. So if you don't have plant milk, you can just double up on the apple cider. There's also low sodium veggie broth. So if you don't have one ingredient, you can leave out the milk and just make up the liquid difference on these 2. So this is this is 1 1/4 cups apple cider. You can use apple juice. Apple cider is a little, they say, more robust. It's a little thicker, little different taste. You can use apple juice. I'm gonna see, I'm a little nervous about my liquids, so I'm checking out my liquids. I'm holding off. And this is my favorite veggie broth. We need 1.5 cups. This is low sodium Pacific. I get this by the case. There's no added oil. And whatever I don't use today, I'll take home, put in an ice cube tray, pop it in my freezer. Then take out, when it's frozen, take out the veggie cubes. Whenever I want to saute something, I just pull out a few cubes, the veggie broth cubes, and I can stir fry or do whatever I want. Oh, whoops, maybe I better measure, do you think? We'll do a cup. And we have some spices, thyme, pepper, ginger, and lemon juice. Thyme. Ginger. And my lemon juice is from my lemon cube. My lemon, I put in a bunch of lemons after I wash them. I always buy organic lemons when I do this. I wash them, dry them off. I cut off the little stem, the belly button. And I cut them up a little bit and throw them all into the food processor. And it makes lemon juice. It makes a thick lemon juice. And I put it into the ice cube tray and do the same thing I do with the veggies. And then, because a lot of vegan whole food plant-based recipes call for a tablespoon of lemon juice or something. So I have it ready to go. In fact, it's still kind of frozen. Okay, And that's it. Oh, and a dash of pepper.
Does the lemon juice still have the rind on it?
Yes,
Okay.
everything. I do the seeds, I do the rind, the skin, the juice, everything. So I shouldn't be afraid of apples. Really, when you think about it, common sense. Okay. I have another lid here. So I'm gonna start off with getting it going. And it popped off. Now this is a little thicker, I think, than I want it to be, so I'm gonna put in the rest of the apple cider. There was two things, I can put in some more veggie blocks. I can't imagine leaving this on for 6 minutes. I don't think. Have you ever done that, Brittany?
I have made soup before. It hasn't needed 6 minutes,
Okay.
but
Yeah, I make Alfredo sauce with cashews and it's like in 2 minutes, it's actually steaming, it's hot, I just pour it right on the pot.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so we need some servers for this.
Now, do you want cups?
I have cups.
Is this warm or
Pardon me?
is this? Do you want heat proof cups or?
No, I think we can use this.
Okay.
It's just warm.
Does anyone have any questions on the soup that is watching virtual? We can ask Linda.
What kind of soup is it?
Can you say the type of soup again?
Yes, carrot apple.
Carrot apple.
And I could have pureed this a little bit more.
I like good soups anyway.
I could have pureed it a little more. It's a thick soup. But do you like the taste?
Any more?
Oh, yes, lots, Susan.
So I can have some.
Absolutely.
I use apples in my butternut squash soup.
Oh, yes. So it makes, this recipe makes 7 cups, so it gives you an idea.
Mhm.
Whoops. Yep, any other questions? So apple, apple, apple. I have one more recipe. I'm not going to demonstrate because I would have had to schlep my food processor, and this was enough. But I was watching Chef AJ a couple weeks ago, and she had on a YouTube channel apple pie tarts, and they're raw, they're unbaked, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. I might like this. So I made them. I made them a little differently. I call them apple pie bites because they're really just. Oops. They're really just one.
Here, I can hold one.
They're really just 1 or 2 bites.
I'll eat this one.
And only needs a few ingredients. So what you do is it starts with 3 cups of oats. I use whole grain rolled oats. You just don't want, and you have to put them in you have to put it in the food processor, the oats, the cinnamon nutmeg, and the vanilla extract. You want to just maybe pulse that. You don't want to make oat flour, but you don't want it to be the whole grain either. So just like a medium pulse. And then after you have that, oats and the spices, then you add in Oh, here we go. Then you add in dates or raisins or a combination of dates and raisins. I think it's a, yeah, 2 cups. Well, it's 1.5 cups pitted dates, or you can do 3/4 cup raisins, 3/4 cup dates. But no matter how fresh your dates are, raisins are, you really should soak them first and plump them up a little, then drain them, because the dates or the raisins are the glue that holds these desserts together. So you don't want it to be crumbly, you want it to be sticky. So, and then also you need 2 cups of unsweetened dried apple rings. I found these at Target, I love them. Good and Gather, that's their brand, Good and Gather. They have dried mangoes, they have other fruit. You could do these raw apple bites, you could make them raw pear bites or raw mango bites, just vary the fruit, that would be really good. So you need 2 cups for this recipe. I just cut them so they're uniform. Then this all gets thrown into the food processor and you just push on. And when it comes together in a ball of dough, you're done. So I think Chef AJ put them into a tart pan. I just put them into, I have a couple silicone molds that are a cube shape or a circle shape that I use for the freezer. It's good to pop these to make them, you could roll them into a ball or make them into a different shape, put them in the freezer, and then when they're frozen, I put them in a plastic bag or another container, and I can just pull out as many as I need, and I want a quick snack. They never freeze solid, so trust me, you can eat them right out of the freezer. I do. So do you want to pass those around? Now, Chef AJ also suggested something which I think would be nice. You can use the same recipe as a pie crust, a raw pie crust. So just after you mix it all together, pat it into your pie plate. Then she suggested, because she lives in California, sliced strawberries. I bought strawberries last week. They were beautiful red, beautiful green leaves. I was salivating. They tasted like cardboard. It was just like wrong season for sure. So, but her plan was, and I'll remember this next year, her plan was to use this dough, put it into your pie plate, put the strawberries decoratively, slice them on the pie plate, then drizzle with a chocolate orange balsamic vinegar drizzle. And she says, there's your dessert.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could do this now with pears. I mean, you could do it with apples.
Yeah.
And I called, what is it, the Olive Merchant here in Murraysville. They don't have an chocolate orange balsamic, but they do have a dark chocolate balsamic. Sally, are you listening? Sally loves dark chocolate balsamic, and they have an orange vanilla balsamic. So I think maybe drizzle both. But then, and I'll have Sally put this on the next newsletter, I think what I might do, make the crust, and then forks over knives. I just got a recipe. They make a tofu whip, a sweet whip, like a cool whip, but it holds its shape and it's stable, which is good. The other whips don't hold their shape. With aquafaba, have you done that with whipping up aquafaba? That's the chickpea juice from the can. You whip that up with sugar and a little bit of vanilla. That doesn't hold for any length of time, but I'm anxious to try this tofu whip, this vanilla tofu whip. So I would put that on top of the crust in my pie plate, and then layer the fruit on top, whatever fruit you choose, and then drizzle with the balsamic. That might be a good Thanksgiving dessert. So if I try and it turns out, I'll have Sally maybe put it in the next newsletter. We'll see. Yeah, right. So, do you like the bites?
Yeah.
I think they taste just like apple pie.
You got asked, someone said, can you please ship some samples to Kansas City?
Oh, I would love to. Or better yet, I'd like you to fly to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, come to Pittsburgh.
Come see Pittsburgh. We love Pennsylvania. And we love Pittsburgh. So this has been, thank you. This has been a delight for me to do, to share apples.
Great ideas that are like
So,
very easy and
yeah.
doable and
This is the time of the year. A little bit of soup for dinner and some apple bites for dessert.
very cool.
You're welcome.
anyone have any questions, watching virtually that we can ask Linda? I think I'm gonna make the salad dressing tonight for dinner.
Brittany can take it home.
Even better.
Ah, yeah, it's fun.
Any questions, guys? All right, well, we will sign off here. Thanks for watching Plant-Based Pittsburgh, and be sure to look out tomorrow for the recipes and the recording and the next virtual class as well.
Yes. Next
All right.
month.
Thanks, guys.